We are back with the 168th edition of the Quarantinecast. I'm really excited for this one. I am joined by someone else who's living in Canada, which is awesome. I've been speaking to a lot of people in the U.S., so it's kind of nice to speak to someone who's also Hispanic and living in Canada. It's hard to come by. So first things first, how are you doing?
Good, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm really good. So what's life like there? I mean, I'm over in Halifax on the East Coast, so we're still kind of locked down and restrictions here are brutal. I can finally go back to jiu-jitsu on Monday, but it's like we open, we close. What are the restrictions like where you're at?
Yeah, right now everything is start opening up. I think tomorrow is gonna be the first day where everything goes pretty much back to normal. Like the gyms can open up, have partners, just like pretty much like normal. Yeah, I'm hoping it stay that way, and it's great. Everything is started to we started to see a light, like in the tunnel.
So you're officially now a member of the UFC roster. I know it's been a few months. Has it sunk in now that you're officially a member of the UFC roster?
Yeah, well, not really. Yes and no. I mean, it's all the waiting for the fights. That's like what gets me. But I'm there now, and now I'm just waiting for a fight. And yeah, it doesn't feel like any different. Like I guess I haven't really sunk in. Maybe because like I didn't perform how I wanted to perform my last fight, or maybe because I didn't got the win. I don't know, but I'm really excited for the next one because I'm training really hard. I'm more hungry than ever. So
Going back to that fight, I mean, you made your UFC debut on short notice against a very dangerous, very experienced Jessica Penne, and if it means anything, I thought you won the fight. So how do you assess your performance when you look back at it? Obviously, you're probably more critical of your performance than I am, but how do you assess your performance?
yeah, I know a lot of people thought I won and everything, right? A lot of people thought that I did great, but people that know me, they know that I didn't perform at all. Like even though after my fight, my coaches were like, "What the hell was that?" You know what I mean? Like because they know me, and I wasn't happy. And even if I got the win, if the decision went my way, I wouldn't be happy because I just didn't like how I look out there. Hello,
Yeah,
sorry, it's my call.
we're good now. We're good now.
Um, yeah, so I didn't like how I performed. And so even though if I got the win or something, I'll be like, man, it's not, I wasn't 100%. I just didn't like how it looked. I can come up with a million excuses. It was short notice fight, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't training that much because I had COVID. I had a million excuses. But why? Like, it's like, okay, well, I didn't perform. I'm going to learn from this experience and move on.
Did your debut feel extra special knowing that you were competing against a very experienced opponent in Jessica Penne, someone that is almost a veteran of the game? Did you feel like it was extra special knowing that they threw you in there with someone who's well respected in the UFC?
Yeah, it wasn't any more pressure, honestly. I didn't feel more pressure. It was just, exciting that I got to step into a cage with someone like her that has been in the game for a long, long time, right? So it was nice to see where I'm at. And I the fight went that way. A lot of people thought I won, and that's great. And I wasn't feeling 100%. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean you're also really young in this in the sport, and you only had 5 pro fights when you made your UFC debut. Were you expecting to get the call so soon in your career?
Yeah, I mean, my manager, I have the best management in the game, and I was really confident that the call it was coming. But I didn't expect it in that week. It was crazy. But I'm in now, so.
You spent some time at Elevation before the fight. Is that somewhere you plan on going in the future? And how did that come about?
Well, I have a friend that lives there, and I went to Denver before, So what ended up happening is when I got the call, is like, do you want the fight? I say yes. So they're like, okay, you got to go to the States for visa stuff, right? Because if I'm in the States, it was the visa is faster or something like that. So that's why I had to go. Otherwise, I would stay here and 2 weeks. I'm not gonna do much in 2 weeks, right? It was, it was about paperwork pretty much. But yeah,
So
I will be going there to train there. I'll go down to Vegas too, because it's always good to to learn from many other people and meet other people and different looks. It's always great to go for a little trip for training.
So I know it was short notice, but this is something that you're familiar with. I think most of your fights have been on short notice. Are you excited to finally get in a full training camp? And do you think that your performance is going to benefit with a proper training camp?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It makes a huge difference, honestly. I feel when I fought Vanessa, I feel so strong, so good, and I had like 2 months 2 months to prepare. So that's great, and all my fights except Vanessa's one is been 2 weeks. Max, it was like 3 weeks, and it's not easy, that's for sure.
The last time you had a loss on your record, you went on a huge win streak, winning 7 fights in a row. What's the biggest lesson that you took from that fight that you think you're going to be able to apply now that you're back on a loss?
From my last, what did I learn from my last fight?
Yeah, the loss to Morgan Engelhart. What was the lesson that you learned from that fight?
Oh, from Morgan. Yes. Oh man, she's a killer. It's too bad that she's not fighting anymore. Because I'm pretty sure she will take every single girl at 125. First of all, that fight, it was at 125, which I'm a 115er, and she felt really strong. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. And then she was just better than me. That day she was just better than me. I was staring, and also I was trying to figure it out. What do I like to do before a fight? What do I like, right? Or just to feel comfortable to get in the cage. And took me like 10 fights to figure it out what works for me before a fight, so it took me until I fought Sam Humes. The last time I fought her, that was my last amateur fight, and that's when everything clicked in. But all my amateur career, it was just trying to figure it out, how to perform, how to bring everything I've been doing at the gym into the cage. Because my coaches and everything, one will see me at the gym and be like, but you're so great, but you're so good, like all of that. But once I step into the cage, I just couldn't transfer that. I just couldn't. I was just like, I don't know what to do. Just the nerves. Now it's still, I get nervous, of course, because I'm stepping with someone else that is wanna do hurt me. But it's nothing comparatively before. Like, I can do stuff, I can see things more clear. So that's what I've been learning.
So do you think it's important for fighters to make sure they get that amateur experience and perhaps get a few losses on their record? Do you think it's important to get that out of the way early?
Definitely have an amateur career. Two fights, 5 fights, doesn't matter, whatever it takes you, right? Losses, I mean, myself, I'm so glad I lost to all those girls, and to like, I lost I lost a lot in the beginning. But it made me question, like, do I really want to do this? Like, maybe this is not for me. But I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and constantly I will get better, and I will look better each fight, even though I was losing. But it's something that I really wanted to do. So there is people that need the losses to learn the lessons, and there is people that they don't need to lose to learn. So I'm one of those people that need to fail hard to get up and be like, okay, don't do that again. That's just me. That's in my life also.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it so many times. Like, if you fall down and you're able to get back up, it makes you a better person than if you just stayed up. And I think your career is a great example of that. I mean, that win streak that you went on, before getting signed at the UFC says it all. One thing I want to talk about, obviously, I live in Canada. I'm from Spain, living in Canada. You're from Mexico, living in Canada. What does it mean to you to be able to represent both the Canadian flag and the Mexican flag?
I feel it's so cool because I get two different crowds, like two totally different crowds, and I have the Mexican people that are like, all like, I don't know, both crowds. I love it because it's like two lives, with like, but it's one. It's weird because I live, when I was a little kid until I was like 14 and a bit in Mexico, and I just remember, and it was a great childhood, right? But now as an adult, I'm here, and then here is what I learned, like that you need to work to make your money. You need this, that's what I become an adult pretty much. So there is like both, representing both is just so amazing. I love it. Honestly, is great.
And it must have meant a lot this past weekend watching Henry Cejudo win that belt. What does it mean to you to be able to see someone, from Mexico be able to be the first to do it? Is it inspiring at all?
Oh, Moreno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say Henry Cejudo? I meant Brandon Moreno.
Yeah. I was like, what? I missed that.
Brandon Moreno.
Yeah. Oh man, that fight, it was amazing. Seeing him win that way, it was just, yeah, I almost start crying. Like, I was really close, but I was with other people, and I didn't want to be like the dramatic one, right? But like, I know a little bit of, like, he was in Mexico making piñatas with his family and training, and I know it's hard, making piñatas is not, like it's a pretty tough life, like to make things happen is tough. But just to see him now win, with his family, and it was just so emotional. It's so great. I love to see that. People that come from the bottom all the way like up. That's amazing.
And then lastly, what can we expect from you in your next fight? I mean, obviously with a full training camp, we're going to probably see the best version of you. But for people who haven't seen you fight, what can they expect?
Oh man, they can expect me to, be dominant. This time I may throw the girl outside the cage. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But yeah, honestly, I've been training really hard, and I've been adding a lot of training, a lot of new stuff in my training, and I'm just really excited to step in, and I hope, I get that call soon.